Okay. Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl Neyssa with Expansive Taste. So I have my book here today. It's called Miss the Point. I am officially a published author, and it is available on Amazon, both with Kindle, and you can get it both through Kindle, and you can get it on paperback. And it's actually like an older draft, so I know I left some parts out and I included some parts in the final draft that's available on Amazon. So this is a little different. But I don't think it's not going to be that big of a deal right now, okay? But I'm going to read it to you guys as far as I can. And yeah, that just feels like the thing to do right now. It was like a spontaneous little idea. Yeah, so I'll just start. Miss the Point by Neyssa Sossous. Part 1, August 2018 to January 2019. 1. Physicists have constructed the theory that since the Big Bang, all actions after are based on a predetermined chain reaction of individual atoms. Since everything and everyone is simply made from matter and energy, all things should work by the laws of physics. This would mean that if we gather enough information and combine it with the right algorithm, the future would be predicted with 100% accuracy. That kind of convenience doesn't exist yet, but there are still designed algorithms out there that work at a much smaller scale, like the one I'm staring at right now. With the best career aptitude test my $6 could buy, a bunch of experts created an algorithm that could only tell me that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. This reminds me of my many encounters as a college student. Right after names, students never failed to ask each other, "What year are you?" and "What's your major?" I'd answer with something like, "Hi, I'm Nola. I'm a senior majoring in child and youth studies. I'm going to be a teacher. One time's too many." I've been met with the response of, "Oh, I thought you were younger," and "I definitely see you as a teacher." This only confuses me. What is it about me that causes people in this stupid test to see teacher as the most suitable career option for me? How does one simply assign a career to me within a 30-second encounter based on my appearance and mannerism? And how is it that even with these test results giving me 20 career options ranked from most to least suitable, the first 13 are just different variations of school teachers: secondary education biology teacher, first grade teacher, special needs education teacher, etc. I've also gotten options like social worker, recreational therapist, and other jobs that don't interest me because they'd require me to get a master's degree. I want to get out of school as soon as possible. The problem isn't that I feel like I'd be a bad teacher. I actually believe I'd be a pretty good one, loved by students, parents, and administration. But once I started my first semester in the education major, I discovered teaching is a whole lot more than just loving your students. As I sat through heated class discussions about America's failing education system, learned about classroom management, and started creating lesson plans on how I'll teach children to read, I realized teaching is not at all what I imagined. Knowing what the job entails and how much of a great responsibility it is, I felt more uncomfortable in my major as the weeks passed. I hoped that I would be directed towards a different career field, but instead, I feel like there are no options for me. I close my laptop and walk to my bed. I shift my pillows to the wall side so that I can lay comfortably on my back while staring at the ceiling. I can feel my heart wanting to come out my chest, and the muscles of my face tense into a frown. I reach over to grab my phone, and my thumb takes me to Instagram. I scroll through for what could have easily been an hour, and I find myself watching another dessert recipe video. I become so hungry that I begin to walk out of my dorm room, past the 3-bedroom doors of my roommates, and walk into the kitchen to inspect the fridge. 80% of the fridge is stuffed with Joyce's and Abigail's groceries from a single trip to Costco. While looking at the six packages of chicken breast, I remember when earlier today I told Abigail that raw chicken wouldn't last well in the fridge. She responded with, "Nuh-uh, chicken should last at least for about 2 weeks." I pull the package of chicken and peek at the use by date. She has 3 more days left to cook this, but maybe the FDA is just too strict. I grab my leftover box of fries. After my 11 a.m. class this morning, I ordered lunch at the dining hall. I ate the sandwich but forgot to grab extra packets of ketchup when I left with the fries. I called Jeff, knowing he always has a large bottle of ketchup. "Nola, I'm so glad you called. I actually needed help with a little something," he answers. "Hey Jeff, what's up?" I reply. I've got all my things into my room. I've got all my things into my dorm, but I'm having trouble putting things together. I figured that you could help since you like decorating and shit. "Yeah, no problem," I say, this while laughing. "I actually wanted to come over to use your ketchup." "Well then come through. You coming over now?" "Yeah, I'll be there in like 15." I walk back into my room to trade my pajama shorts for a black maxi skirt and put on a bra under my white crop top. I take a look in the full length mirror and start pulling at my fluffy shoulder length twist outs with fading red dye on the ends. Just from laying on my bed, my hair has already matted to the back of my head. I considered bleaching and dyeing it again, but then recalled how damaging that was to my hair the last 2 times I did so. I'll simply wait for the 2 to 3 inches of red to break off and stick to black. As my arm lowers, I take note of the contrast and shade between my forearm and the back of my wrist and smile. The summer sun has given me a glowing complexion that resembles the color of roasted chestnut, and I've grown very fond of it. I know I'll miss this tan come winter time. I use the back of my hand to wipe the extra shine off my nose. I like to think I have the nose of a Whoville character, but it's more like the endearing shape of a Ninja Turtle's head. Either way, it's button-like, and when paired with my round face and pouty lips, I look like a child. With phone, keys, and box of fries in hand, I step out and walk to the other side of the neighborhood. As I pass all the apartment buildings, I notice a lot of the students are still moving into campus on a Tuesday. Move-in day was Saturday, yet students are already procrastinating and not moving in until the day before their first class of the week. "There's Nola, once again in the black and white," Jeff says as he opens the door. Hey, what Hey, what you been doing?" I ask. I watch him sit down on the couch and grab his laptop. Jeff is the tallest friend I have, standing at 6 foot 6 inches, and he puts his height to use in the basketball courts every chance he gets. I once asked him why he's never tried to join a team, but he fell into a silence which told me I must have hit a sensitive topic. I'm dropping a class and switching it for another one. I met my professor today and he was I'm dropping my class and switching it off for another one. I met my professor today and he was on some bullshit, so I already know I don't want to be in that class, he answers while staring intensely at his laptop screen. Well, dang, already? I place my fries in the microwave and open the fridge to grab the ketchup. Yeah, nigga had me fucked up. What happened though? First of all, Nola, when I tell you this man had the most monotone voice you ever heard, he starts mumbling in a humming tone to mimic his professor. I cannot be listening to that voice that early in the morning. The man had me wanting to fall asleep, and I know that's going to be real bad for me once I change up my work schedule. Because, I'm still waiting for my boss to approve my new schedule. And I don't think that'll be a problem because he knows I'm a student, and I made sure to give him my class schedule 3 weeks in advance. Jeff drifts into a ramble about working the night shift and goes into detail about his weekly class schedule, and I sit on the couch with him while eating my fries. But anyways, he continues, we were going through the syllabus and the professor was saying that the class was predominantly online and that we'd be meeting in class once every 2 weeks. And I know I do not do well in online classes, Nola. Why would I want to set myself up for failure? I'm especially not going to go through that for some bullshit class that's not even required for the psychology major. And he said that only half his students pass his class. Like, nah, I'm not going through that. Jeff has always been quite the talker, but I don't mind it most of the time. My friendship with him has actually helped me to be more expressive with my words. We met near the end of last semester. I went to one of the clubs in North Fort. Mm, I think I changed that in the final draft. I went to one of the clubs in the city with my coworker Lindsay and her roommate on a Thursday night. After a bouncer removed me from the stage for grinding on a tall black man, I somehow find another tall black man to dance with. In the span of 2 minutes, Jeff picks me up, I kiss him, we exchanged numbers, and we parted ways. And then, on Saturday morning, we met again and hung out in my dorm room until Sunday night. Nothing felt out of place as we shared stories, watched movies, and of course, did the obvious. It didn't even seem out of place when I straddled him while shaving his stomach as he laid on my bed. Now, Jeff and I are in his room and I'm not quite sure what he needed help with as the room is nearly empty excluding the furniture. The only personal items I can spot are a stuffed laundry basket, some electronics, his shoes, and a bedsheet and comforter set bundled up on the chair. "How is your bed not made yet?" I ask. Nola, I tried, but I could not just Nola, I tried, but I just could not get it to work. The sheets just don't want to stay on the mattress. I don't think it's the right size, Jeff says. Nah, these are the right size, I say while shaking the red fitted sheet loose from the bundle. So you've really been sleeping on this cold ass mattress without sheets? We start to make the bed, but I end up taking over while he watches in awe. Wow, how do you know how to do things? Wow, how do you just know how to do these things? You you see, I would not have thought of doing it like that. You're really good at this decorating stuff, he exclaims with both hands up behind his head. This isn't what I call decorating, I laugh. Jeff has Asperger's syndrome, which is one on the low end scale of the autism spectrum. Even while knowing this, it still amazes me how his mind can be so complex, yet some simple everyday task can be so challenging for him. After fixing up his bed, we talked some more about our semester schedule and made a plan to go grocery shopping together this weekend. It's almost 10 p.m., so I head out and start to walk back to my dorm. I feel the warmth of the humid night and look up to find the stars. There are too many clouds up, so I instead open the Pandora app and listen to soulful modern R&B. It feels good to be back on campus after a summer of being stuck at home with my Haitian parents in my small boring town. I love my parents, I wouldn't change anything about my upbringing, but I'm still able to recognize a lot of flaws in their parenting. Haitian parents are notorious for being domineering, strict, and overly religious. I grew up going to church every single Sunday, being awarded perfect attendance certificates most school years, and staying inside the home all summer vacation. Though I do recall one summer after second grade where I received swimming lessons, and one summer after fourth grade, my parents put me in the YMCA basketball team. My parents tried to give me a fulfilling childhood, which I appreciate, but there were still some standard American experiences I never got. For example, my brother and I were never allowed to go to sleepovers growing up. This rule applied to us both, but regardless, girls are still raised entirely different in Haitian households. He could at least spend some time in he could at least spend time in his friends' homes on a daily basis once he became a teenager. The only times I'd get to spend time with friends was the occasional birthday party, and after morning service, I'd go to my friend's home from church. Then I'd be brought back to church from the night service, where my parents would take me back home at the end. These hangouts happened a maximum of once a month. Whenever I'd complain to my mom about not being around my friends often enough, my mom would respond with, You hung out with them 2 weeks ago. You don't need to be spending all this time outside as if you don't already have a home. When are you going to learn that friends don't matter and all you need is your family?" Not much has changed since leaving for college. I still get lectured for trivial matters like wearing crop tops, leaving the house without earrings on, not having my hair perfectly styled, and never wearing heels like a lady should for those special occasions. I still get told not to spend too much time with friends, and too much time means more than 6 hours a week. Sleepovers are still forbidden except for in the specific scenario where there's an intense rainstorm that prohibits me from driving back home. My mom still opens my mail and meddles in my personal affairs. The only difference is now she waits for me to tell her to come in when she knocks on my bedroom door. With every phone call I had with my mom while on campus, she never failed to ask if I'd been taking care of my hair, if I've been going to church, and if I've met a man of God. The Friday night before coming in, I went on a date with a guy I met on Tinder since I was bored and hadn't had any sort of romantic interaction all summer. He and I sat on a park bench and talked, and then we made out in his car. I miscalculated my timing and unfortunately arrived home the same time my mom did coming from work. I told her I went on a date with a guy I met online and she scolded me about being too easy. I apparently need to play hard to get for a man to take me seriously and decide to marry me. She told my dad about this and he gave me the same speech. He even asked me why I was being so thirsty and told me I needed to wait for a man to find me. Um, Close. Anyways, there's a lot more I can say about being a girl raised by Haitian parents. To summarize, imagine that I was raised to be the perfect and pure 1950s housewife with a full-time academic profession while consistently serving in the church, and my brother Chesney was raised to simply figure it out himself. It didn't bother my parents that he's not a virgin, doesn't date with the intention to marry, doesn't care for church, doesn't wash dishes, etc. All he needs to do to not appear as a disgrace is graduate college and not get a woman he's not married to pregnant. I've complained about this injustice to my mom many times, and she'd simply say, "This is normal. Chesney is a boy." All he had to be was a boy to be granted the space to make his own decision and not be interrogated every moment he left the home. It's not the fact that he's 4 years older than me or that he's more level headed and responsible. It's just that he's a boy. My life has always been much more restricted compared to my brothers and my non Haitian peers growing up. But ever since I started going to university and living in the dorms, I've been able to experience freedom in a way I never had. The most fun I had the past summer was working part-time at a daycare nearby and spending my money on makeup from Marshalls and clothes from Goodwill. I'm excited about being so close to my friends again and not having to ask for permission to leave the home. I continue my high-spirited walk and breathe in the thick air. I looked ahead and spot a familiar tall, dark, and dreadlocked man walking past a lamppost. He's wearing a blue t-shirt, black sports shorts, and long white socks under his sneakers. His slow walk makes it appear as if the concept of time could only be categorized as foolish. I feel a need to speak to him, so I pause the song that's playing and quicken my pace. "Hey, excuse me, sir," I say as I catch up to him. He turns to me and I see the confusion in his face. "I think I saw you earlier today working at the sign-in desk." I smile at him, feeling drawn to his round eyes and rich chocolate skin. "Nah, that wasn't me," he smiles back. "Oh yeah, I see you have a beard," I say this slowly, feeling embarrassed. This makes him laugh and I catch a glimpse of his perfect white teeth. As I look at him closer, I realize that he really does look familiar. I know I haven't met him before, but there's something about his pigmented skin, wide nose, and square jaw that makes me feel like I can trust him. "Well, I'm Nola, by the way," I tell him as we walk together. "I'm Michael. So, have you lived in this neighborhood a while?" I hear an indistinguishable accent in his voice. "No, I just moved in this semester." "Ah, that's why I haven't seen you around," he nods. "So what year are you?" I ask. "Senior. And you?" "I'm also a senior." "Well, this is my stop." He points at the building to the right of us. "It was nice meeting you." "It was nice meeting you, Michael." I watch him walk and fade into the shadow behind the stairway. My disappointment at how short that encounter was surprises me. There was some sort of lingering spell from the words we exchanged that gave me a brief feeling of deja vu. I feel as if though Perhaps in another life we were once in love and we were just now reunited after centuries of separation. There's no other explanation why he's left such an impression on me. I need to see him again. Even though this university is considered to be a small one, there's a large chance that by the next time I see him, it'll be too late to try to reconnect. I want to know more about him. I'm thinking he and I can get along well. I opened the apartment door to find Joyce and Abigail in the living room with some friends. I see two of their friends and a guy I haven't met before yet. Last semester, Abigail and I met through an app meant for finding roommates. Apparently, the part in my bio that won her over was where I mentioned I want roommates I could cook dinner with. After meeting her and Joyce for the first time, they invited me to have lunch with their friends. Seeing the dynamic of the whole group had me notice that they all probably grew up sheltered and in religious households. So did I, but I can see they have a longer way to go to drop their I'm innocent persona. I will have to be careful about practicing some of my not so good habits here. After casually mentioning that I smoke pot, I got a text from Joyce asking me to please not bring drugs into the apartment. She feared she'd be kicked out of housing because of it. I told her not to worry and that I'd respect her wishes, which I do, but my stash is still in my room. I just won't be smoking it inside the apartment. Hopefully, their sophomore year will help them lighten up a bit. Our other roommate, Marilyn, is a junior majoring in forensic, and she's pretty cool from what I can tell. Her mom is black and her dad is white, and she's a dancer like me. What I know about Marilyn so far is that she's allergic to peanuts and shellfish. Um, I haven't seen her since Sunday though, so she's either already pretty busy or she spends a lot of time in her room. I greet all of the girls and the guy who I learn is Joyce's friend, Winston, and head to my room. I set my alarm clock for 5:45 a.m. so I can wake up early enough to shower before my 6:30 a.m. shift at the cafe. I prefer walking from this neighborhood to the main campus. When I lived in, I changed the name of the neighborhoods. I'll just say neighborhood 1. When I lived in neighborhood 1, the neighborhood meant for freshmen and late housing applicants. It took me 20 minutes to walk to work for my first 2 school years. Here in neighborhood 2, it only takes me 10 minutes. I would have been at neighborhood 2 last year if I knew I'd be staying at this school. My original plan was to transfer to FIU in Miami to apply for their dietetics program, but I changed my mind when I realized I didn't want to be a dietitian anymore. This happened when I went to interview the campus dietitian for personal research. When I sat in the chair and the dietitian asked me what I was there for some odd reason, I told her I wanted to lose weight instead of telling her my true intentions. As she continued to give me a plethora of good tips and we had a discussion on my health habits, the tiny notebook I held, filled with my questions, held less importance. I left her office feeling oddly disappointed. While I still believe the dietetics profession to be essential, I decided that I didn't want to sit in an office and talk about food for the majority of my life. Another reason why, excuse me, Another reason why I didn't transfer was that I had too much anxiety about moving to Miami. Even though I knew I'd be moving in with my family there, I didn't feel ready to move into such a big city when I didn't even have my driver's license yet. I didn't stand a chance on those Miami roads. The summer that I decided not to be a dietitian, I begged my parents to let me take a year off so I could save money and give myself time to decide on a career, while not digging myself more into student loan debt. They went ballistic and told me this wasn't an option and that I just needed to pick a different major. I presented a bachelor's in arts as a degree I would like, and then my mom convinced me to pick something else because I wouldn't earn a stable income with that. And that's when I chose elementary education because I figured that working in a classroom would be fun. The children would make me laugh, and I would have an unlimited amount of opportunities to tap into my creative side. My parents approved, so I put in the paperwork to change my major, and a guidance counselor helped me choose my classes for the following fall semester. She placed me in the Child and Youth Studies major since students actually need to pass the general knowledge test before getting into the elementary education major. I did very well for the mathematics section, but I didn't pass the reading and writing section. I blame it on the shitty stories and boring writing prompts standardized tests insist on using. I later found out that a majority of students in the same major fail at least one section of the GKT. My plan was to pass the GKT by the end of the last spring semester, but I never got around to retaking the test because I didn't want to work. I didn't want to fork over the $150. So I stayed in child and youth studies along with the other students who got stuck here. It turned out that since a lot of the classes in the two majors are the same, students in child and youth studies can still become a teacher as long as they eventually pass the GKT. This means I could even take the test after graduation. I probably would have been better off not knowing this since this bit of information ignited the procrastinator in me. I knock on the glass door of the restaurants and watch Victoria come out from the back room and push the door open. Victoria is a short, elderly Puerto Rican woman who has worked at the cafe for several years now. She's very loved by Kristen, the manager who turned 30 and dreads the thought of it. Earlier this year, Kristen told me that the only reason she hasn't left the restaurant yet is because she wouldn't want to leave Victoria behind. It's become Kristen's mission to make sure that Victoria never has to work hard again. Victoria and her husband used to work on farms harvesting tomatoes to support their 4 children for many years. Good morning, Victoria, I sing and give her a hug. Good morning, Nina, she hugs me back. I head to the back room, clock in, and place my belongings on the employee shelf while Victoria goes back to food prepping. I get into work mode and start brewing the coffee. I look around and see that the only possible other thing I can do before open time is to stock up on supplies. That's when Kristen walks in from the main door, pushing the cooler of ice with 2 bags of straws and coffee cup lids on top of it. So everything is pretty much done already, Kristen says after we say our good mornings. You can just make your breakfast and chill until we open. Oh wow, thanks, I cheerfully say. Kristen tells me that we have new uniforms and that there are a couple sizes of them in the back room. I must have had a look of disgust on my face when I unfolded the neon blue t-shirt because Kristen replied with, I know girl, same. I place a coffee cup sleeve between the main restaurant doors so I don't get locked out and go into the building's restroom to change out my black t-shirt into this new highlighter blue eyesore. Ryan, who came in right at open time, felt this. Oh, I did give him whatever. My coworker who came in right at open time said, felt the same way I did about the uniform change. He even dared to say that he's just going to show up in the black t-shirts and claim that he forgot the blue ones. He also says that he's going to become manager so he'll get to wear the black button-up shirts. That's a bold statement, taking into account his work ethic. Only 20 minutes after opening, we experience a rush of customers, and I'm at the drink station making an overwhelming amount of iced caramel macchiatos. Finally, when Lindsay clocks in at noon, I'm sent to have my lunch break. When I sit on the bench outside with a buffalo chicken sandwich, I unlock my phone and see a missed call and unopened text message from Marcy. Marcy. Please tell me you're at work today. Me. I am. What's up? Marcy. I'm in dire need of food. 3 crying face emojis. Can you please hook me up with an Asiago with plain cream cheese? Me. Yeah, I'm on my lunch break right now. Come before I leave at 3. By the time I clock back in, the rush slows down significantly. It's as if the line wasn't practically going out the door just an hour ago. Marcy finds me at the drink station and notices my shirt. Oh, wow. That's what they have you guys wearing now? I'm glad I left when I did, she said with her Jamaican accent. Marcy used to be my coworker here at the cafe. Even with our personalities being near opposites, her being a true pessimist, we quickly bonded over our struggles growing up as girls in the Caribbean households. Because Marcy's on a student visa, she's only allowed to work a maximum of 20 hours a week. That quota is filled by her new position as a resident assistant, so she has had to drop her part-time position here. It's a fair trade considering she receives free housing. I could have been an RA too if I didn't have a nervous breakdown in the middle of an interview. Combining that one semester stress and a somewhat personal question triggered an unexpected waterfall of tears. Up until that point, I actually did so well that my interviewers asked if I wanted to reschedule. I decided against it. Marcy thanks me for the bagel I handed her over the counter and begins to invite me to a soccer game this Saturday. She mentions that four of her residents are on the soccer team and she wanted to show her support to them. I tell her that soccer isn't my thing, but that I tag along since I haven't been to a single sports game on campus yet. After work, I walk back to my dorm and am surprised to come across someone I haven't seen in maybe 5 months. I see my 6 foot tall, caramel skin tone, slender friend walking with long box braids, black jeans, and a strapless black crop top. Alice, I shout and wave. No way. Hey, Nola. Alice wiggles her long arm into the air and starts skipping over to me. Oh my gosh, are we neighbors? Yeah, I guess. I'm on the first floor of Building O. Where are you? I ask after we hug. I'm on the third floor of Building N, Alice answers. This is so exciting. Yeah, I haven't seen you in forever. Where are you headed right now? I'm going to class, but I'll be out by 7. Oh, perfect. Let's hang out later, I suggest. Oh my gosh, yay, you still got my number? Yeah, I'll text you. We part ways and a smile lingers on my face. Alice is someone I definitely know I want to be around. Unfortunately, our friendship was loosely tied by Dahlia, my best friend and former roommate. Um, Last semester, Dahlia had to leave school due to some legal issues. I miss being in school with Dahlia since this is my first time since second grade that we'll be so far apart for so long. The only upside is now Alice and I have a chance to make a connection of our own. I sit in Alice's car and open the driver's door from the inside since the door handle on the outside is broken. On our drive, we talk about our summers and home life. I learned that Alice is the oldest of three and that she's Jamaican. I always assumed that she was African American. Alice also comes from a loud family where everyone is always arguing. This is information that also surprises me because she's so soft spoken. I'm gonna skip that part. I tell Alice I worked at a daycare all summer caring for mostly 1 year olds. I'm patient in that my family is very quiet. We're now parked at the Target parking lot, and I unzip my purple pouch and pull out my one hitter disguised as a writing pen. I pack the tiny bowl, light, puff, and pass. This process is repeated until Alice notices something. You see that white truck behind us? She says, looking at the rearview mirror. I think those are undercover cops. Oh, yeah? What makes you think that? I look at the side of the mirror and see a large white pickup truck with three parking spaces behind us. Those windows are way too tinted, and they parked there a moment ago and no one came out. Maybe they came out here to smoke too. Nah, I think the cops know this is the spot now. But maybe I'm just paranoid. Wanna leave? They might follow us. Let's go inside Target then, I suggest. True. That might look less suspicious. We take our time stepping out of the car and walk towards Target. By the time we almost reach the doors, the truck turns on the headlights and drive away. Oh, so they were waiting on us, I say. Man, fuck 12, Alice says. Do we just head back to the car? Nah, we're already here. True. It's so bright in here and everything looks so neat and perfect. I tell Alice that Target always looks so magical when high, and she agrees. We walk around going through the clothes while complaining about being broke. We continue our previous conversation, and I mention my relationship with my mom. She's still so strict, and it makes it hard for me to grow up and do my thing, I say. Then why don't you just lie to her so you can do what you want? Alice says while pulling at the black lace top on the rack. Oh, nah, I laugh. I cannot lie to my mom. We're just too close. Aw, that's cute. Yeah, I get actual stomach aches whenever I lie to her. Man, I lie to my mom so much. That's the only thing that works with her. We make our way to the purses and wallets, and this excites Alice. She mentions that the old her would just grab one of these bags and walk right out with it. I've shoplifted before, but only by not scanning one or two grocery items at self checkout. I never thought someone could actually walk out with the whole purse unnoticed. We keep walking around while she holds a black leather tote bag and contemplates leaving with it. Nah, it can wait. I'm not going to bring you down into my crap, Alice says and places it back. I find this to be funny. So guys, that's the end of chapter 1. I am so tired. It's 1 a.m. right now and my voice seems to be disappearing, which is really disappointing. I was like kind of thinking like what if I could read this whole entire book um and in just one night, and that would be like a fun thing to do. But I guess I don't know. We made it through chapter 1. Maybe I'll get to chapter 2 next time. Maybe there won't be a next time. Maybe you just need to buy my book. I'm sorry if chapter 1 is not really a good representation of the story that you're about to read. It's just like a, what's it called? It's a briefing about some of the characters and some of the experiences that the main character Nola has, just some background information. So it's not as exciting as the other chapters are going to be. But yeah, that's just how it starts. Let me know what you guys think. The link for the book is down below if you are willing to buy it. Also, if you just want to like read it yourself for free, there's a preview on Amazon. You can read like the first 20 pages or something like that for free. And then that can help you make a decision for sure. Yeah, so I guess that's all, beautiful people. Thank you so much for watching. I send you my love. Mwah. Bisous.